Hello, Internet, and welcome to another TADPOG podcast, a weekly show where two old guys talk about old games. I'm your bearded host, Tyler, and when I was little, I used to write fictions about myself playing hockey for the St. Louis Blues.
And I'm your bespectacled host, Dave, and I just learned that I am scared of Pixar. We're playing through IGN's Top 100 Super Nintendo games and musing about our experiences here on the show. This week we're talking about IGN's 98th ranked Super Nintendo game, Uniracers. We've got a special guest with us here tonight, Mr. Josh Nance.
Is that me?
That's you.
Okay, great. Hi guys, I'm Josh. I am currently drawing swords right now to calm my nerves.
He's doing pretty well.
Thank you.
This started back in middle school when Josh and I had a stapled together booklet of a few hundred swords that we drew, named, and put what level you had to be to wield these powerful blades.
It went along with our Lego universe too. We had spreadsheets of Lego men with all of their stats and weapons and equipment and other such things. So.
Where's all this now?
I have the spreadsheet, one of the spreadsheets at home, where we put down all the names, a little bit about their story, name all their equipment and all their equipment slots. I wish we had the actual storyline.
So Dungeons and Dragons was just really a natural progression.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Right on. Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, glad to be here.
All right, so first I guess we'll kick things off by talking about what we've been playing in the interim between last podcast and this podcast. Dave, what have you been playing since we left, besides Uniracers, since we left off from Tiny Toon Adventures?
I have been playing a lot of Uniracers. But we've been playing some Borderlands 2, finally. I know we've been talking about that the last 2 episodes. We finally got to play a little. You, me, and Blake. Trying the Gunzerker. I don't like it at all. I need to make a new build.
Well, I don't mind starting over and doing something else.
I think I'll just build him as a tank instead of trying to make him a damage dealer. Because I've done some research, and that's really what he's supposed to be, a tank. So I don't know why a class named Gunzerker is tank. I would just assume Commando would be tank and Gunzerker would be DPS or something. But
Yeah.
Besides that, I've been playing a lot of Chivalry, medieval warfare, which ties in with all the swords you're drawing and the Lego universe.
You can use them if you want.
Some of them might be in the game. I'm glad you're on the show, Josh, because ever since I've been playing this game, this has got you written all over it. I really like it. It's a team-based game. It's a first-person shooter, but you have swords, pole arms, daggers, bows and arrows, crossbows, and you either work with a team to accomplish goals or you do a free-for-all melee. And I thought for sure when I first started the game that I completely wasted my money because I started up and it looks like absolute dog shit. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
damn it. This doesn't look like the trailer at all. The text is all really bad. And it all starts in this little training area. And it looked awful. And I was like, well, I've heard this game. I've heard it's got some pretty cool mechanics. So at least I can try some mechanics out and go from there. Well, I went to do the training and they've got a class trainer for each one. There's an archer, a man of arms, which is kind of like a light armored guy that's really quick and uses small weapons. And then there's a vanguard, which is medium armor with pole arms. I kind of think he's Game of Thrones. Your favorite character, Viper.
The red Viper.
Yeah, he reminds me of that class. Reminds me of the Red Viper.
Okay, you've appealed to me 2% by making that reference.
I think Tyler didn't know what his favorite Game of Thrones character was
Yeah, I
for a
had to think. I
minute.
was like, Jamie Lannister?
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's sort of, okay, Red Viper, yeah.
That's kind of the
true.
problem
Red
with Game
Viper.
of Thrones, I guess, is that I think everyone has more than one favorite.
Well, you need to because chances are they're going to die, you need a backup. Yeah.
And then there's a knight, which is heavy armor, sword and shield, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it sounds great. I'd like to give it a try. I just logged 30 hours in FTL. Finally beating it on normal mode. So maybe now that I've put a little bit of a dent in my list of Steam games to play, then yeah, I'll give it a try.
I recommend it. It's once you get past the starting area, it's still not polished at all. It's based on Half-Life Source, so it's Yeah. I mean, it'll run on
My eyebrows went up.
it'll run on a potato. And because of that, it looks like it. But it's a lot of fun because they put a lot of emphasis on all the melee. Like there's different slashes you can do, and you have to actively guard. Like when someone swings, you have to right click to either parry with your weapon or bring your shield up. So what it lacks in polish, it makes up 100-fold in gameplay. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, it's you don't play nostalgia for the graphics,
Right.
So yeah, I'd see it. It sounds like a lot what they wanted the battle system in Skyrim to be.
That's what they need to take note from this game. And all the Elder Scrolls games, I feel like melee is essentially me swinging a sword running backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they tried to fix that in Skyrim from Oblivion. That was a flawless tactic. You could go through any enemy, cut them down by using that tactic. But they made backing up a little bit slower in Skyrim to try to fix that. But still, it's a pretty effective tactic.
Yeah.
You just back up a little bit, block, and attack.
Yeah.
So
you've been playing FTL?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely recommend this game. I think it's normally $10 on the Steam sales. I got it for $5, so for $5, I've logged 30 hours into this game, so it's definitely been worth it for me. Definitely challenging. Like I said, there's easy and normal mode, both of which are extremely difficult. Normal mode, in fact, right before we started recording, I finally beat normal mode. Which
I still haven't beat easy.
Yeah. It's pretty tough. I've found only a few tactics that really work for the final confrontation. So
I hope to maybe get you back on the show. Maybe we do a special episode about FTL.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I bought it during the Steam sale this week, so when I get around to it.
And it has the look and feel of of a retro game.
Yeah.
And its art style at least. What Tyler, what have you been up to? Did you finish all the Zelda games in this week?
Maybe I should pick up and try to grit my teeth through Spirit Tracks sometime soon. Like our Borderlands 2 multiplayer with a little bit of single player, because in multiplayer Borderlands 2 I'm playing the Commando.
Yeah.
And I like it okay. It's a lot different. In my solo I'm playing the Siren, which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Again, that's kind of, I think we'd mentioned my play style is usually defensive, and the Siren's got a lot of good healing and defensive abilities.
What do you like about the Commando?
I guess I like being able to do a little bit more damage, and I'm doing the survival, because I may change my tactic, because I was building more of a tank. So if you want to build more of a tank, I'll probably go and buy where I can reset my skill points and
we might want to look into it.
A little more damage dealing, which
because that game is
fun.
Multiplayer. It's kind of challenging.
It's surprisingly challenging, but it's good.
Because we've been playing with Blake. Fuck you, Blake. And it's been hard with just the three of us.
Yeah, no, but it's not the kind of hard that we bitch about. But it's good. Like I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, we need to get Josh. We need to get you playing too.
Yeah, well,
yep.
And by the time this airs, we may have a Steam group for TADPOG. If anyone wants to look us up and play with us, that would be great.
Or give us free games.
Yeah, if you want to gift us games, sure, I'll give you my
I hadn't even
Steam
thought
ID.
about that. There we go. But this week I haven't gotten to play a lot of games because I've been finally moved into my house. So now it's time to unpack and organize and do all the small details now that we're in.
Yeah.
But since I've been doing that, I guess my primary form of entertainment has been listening to Book 14, the final book in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, which I'm about halfway through it, and it's been amazing.
Yeah.
I want to finish it, but at the same time, I don't want to finish it. I don't want this to be over. It's so good, and I mean, Brandon Sanderson is finishing Robert Jordan's work because Robert Jordan died.
Right.
So I mean, it's not like there's not going to be any more.
Right.
Period. So it makes me sad.
Is there any news about maybe Wheel of Time seeing television or movie or?
Game of Thrones gives me hope that something like that, because it is in the same sort of vein as Game of Thrones, although it's way more magical. The Game of Thrones is essentially, people might make it out to be fantasy, but I really think of it more as it's a medieval political thriller.
Right.
How much nudity is in it?
They have sex when they cast spells, right?
That's true. Yeah, they have to. Yeah, it's like massive 80s style animated erections, whatever they cast. But I don't know why it went that direction, but it works. No, it's
That's how you cast spells, Tyler.
other than the IL people who are naked a lot, there's very little.
It's like La Blue Girl for medieval fantasy. Link to La Blue Girl will not be in the show notes.
But hopefully now I'll keep listening and finish book 14, do some more Borderlands. After this week and the house is all done, I hope. I've got four games that I might want to next on the agenda. Of course, FTL, so we can do a special about that. Amnesia, because we've been talking about it for so long. I need to finish it.
I've played a bit of that too. Yeah, I let me know before you guys do that, because I'd like to play that and talk to you guys about it.
All right.
Lone Survivor, I want to try. I bought it. I finally got that on Steam sale. I'm eager to try it out.
I'm curious what you think. I've played it, and I'm just curious what you think.
Mm-hmm. I started, last time we were hanging out on New Year's Eve, I started They Bleed Pixels.
Yeah.
So I need to pick that up and finish that out.
I kind of wish I'd have picked that up, so maybe we could talk about it on the show, because
that fits our criteria pretty well.
That's what we've been playing this week. Besides our main game, which is Uniracers, we have Josh here, who is an expert on Uniracers.
Because I own the game and I had played it before this.
That is the criteria of being an expert. That's
Okay.
like Jacob owned Final Fight, so he's He's a TADPOG Final Fight expert. If this were Pawn Stars and someone came in asking for Uniracers, I'd be like, hold on, I gotta call a buddy who's an expert in this kind of stuff. It would be you. So tell us about Uniracers. There's an interesting story behind it.
Oh, the mythos, yes. Okay, so according to the instruction booklet, the lore in there states that there was a unigod who lived in the universe and wanted to impress a goddess who didn't think he had enough imagination. So he created the Uniracers because apparently racing in this universe is the most badass thing ever. So he created the Uniracers. Their sole purpose is to race each other. And from what I remember, he just kind of forgets about it. It just leaves them to their own thing, which they're eternally racing each other. The boss is the Anti Uni.
The boss of the game.
Yes, the Antichrist equivalent, I guess. I'm assuming.
Well, if the Uni God didn't create the Anti-Uni, he'd be taking away the player's will, their free will.
But they don't have
to choose.
Oh shit! We're getting in some deep Uniracers philosophy.
I haven't studied theology or anything, but there is.
We have some listeners who did. So
Okay, great. Yeah, we need to get a theology
shirt.
We need to get a theology expert in here to talk about the underlying.
Well, you're the expert, so you're just gonna have to.
Okay, then I will wing it. Okay, so this unigod has left these Uniracers, or I think they're just called unis in the game. Yeah, unis on their own to race eternally. There's not much to the customization, which I think we're probably going to get into later, but each uni has its own personality. So they each have their own little unique personality. They say different things from time to time.
Let's just call them eunuchs from here on out. If we could.
All right. So this one eunuch states that he hates racing.
Really?
Yes. So
A crisis of faith.
maybe, or maybe he's being tormented. Maybe this is his hell.
Oh, interesting.
Is the only evidence that this unigod ever existed is the Anti-Uni, which he apparently left to test. Well, you have to race against him, so of course it is a test.
So did it work? Did the Unigod get the girl?
We don't know.
Well, folks, it's been a great episode. That's Uniracers for you. Cue the music. I actually do have some non-canon information about the game. It's a racing game that was developed by DMA Design and Nintendo of America. Nintendo published it for the Super Nintendo, and it was released in North America in '94. You race as a unicycle, or a uni, or a eunuch, take your pick, around a two-dimensional track that they loop and twist, and you have to perform stunts and avoid obstacles, and that's about the gist. There isn't a whole lot more to the game.
Before we played it, you had a theory about, we were just like, what do you think the background, what's the story behind this game? And you had something I think is equally as good and plausible as the actual story.
The unicycles, the unis or eunuchs, no one's riding them. So they're just riding by themselves. So I just assumed that they were that ghosts were riding them. I mean, that seems like the most logical solution. That's the most logical answer.
Well, there are ghosts.
Right, we found that
Yes.
out. We found that out, which I think is hilarious. Tell me about the ghosts.
Well, I don't know much about them other than what you mentioned.
does?
Yeah, exactly. It's so mysterious. They're the 3 mini bosses, if that's a good word to call them.
Sure.
You have to race against the bronze, silver, and gold ghost.
Bronson, Sylvia, and Goldwyn are the ghosts.
Right, to get the medals. And then eventually, if you beat Goldwyn,
Right. He commits suicide.
or gets eaten
By a
by
turtle.
some kind of like Koopa Troopa
Yeah.
thing, yeah. Then you eventually race against the Anti Uni. I remember him from 18 years ago when this game came out, playing against him. I don't remember if I ever beat him or not. I played with my brother and actually 2 of my neighbors, which were the same age as us. We all took turns, and eventually between the 4 of us, we got to the Anti Uni. I remember racing against him, but I don't remember beating him.
Well, I didn't even make it to him, so I probably sunk about 8 hours into it. So
Well, we hoped he was a bicycle.
yeah,
Which would make sense, yes.
the Anti-Uni
Yeah.
would be a bicycle, or at least bi-curious.
That is kind of a pretty big disappointment, or there was so much potential there.
Yeah. Well, lost opportunity. Alas, it probably would have been too racy for the game, which a lot of things are too racy for the game. Hey, yeah, that pun was completely intentional.
We made our friend James Livingston very happy.
Yes.
Just then.
But there are some other things that are too racy for the game, like character names. You can name your uni. Tyler, I'm going to let you handle this section.
Turns out we were like, all right, we'll play some verses. We'll name our uni Unix. So of course, what do you do when you get to name a character? You have to name it something.
Same thing you did when you were 8.
Yep. Even though we're almost 30, around 30-esque ish. All right, here are some examples of names that you can use and names that you cannot use for your racers.
Names that are not cool.
By the way, we spent more time, I think, naming our unis than we did actually playing the game.
Yeah.
This was an exhaustive effort
Yeah.
to find out what was good and what was bad in the eyes of the programmers. All right, so you cannot have a racer named Crap.
Not cool enough.
Nope. Because, you put it up and then it says not cool enough and
Right.
rejects it out. So crap, piss,
Not cool enough.
fuck,
Not cool enough.
ass,
Not cool enough.
shit.
Not cool enough.
I mean, that's we can, all right, we're granted, all right, that crap and piss, that's a little, but the others, okay, that's not surprising.
Right.
I think you're a middle schooler playing this game.
All right, pussy and vagina, you can do those.
Yeah.
Penis,
Not
not cool enough. Balls, also not cool enough. Tits, fine. Lucifer, that's okay. Satan, on the other hand, not cool enough. You can have a racer named Jackoff. You cannot have a racer named Jerkoff.
The oft forgotten twin brother.
So you cannot have hand job, blow job, anal, butt. Butt,
B-U-T-T.
not allowed. Where butt is not allowed, rape, cock, sex, semen, whore, slut, grundle, chode. Well, we scraped the bottom of the barrel in efforts here to see what was cool enough.
Those were cool enough?
Those were all cool enough. You can have semen and cum, but jism and jizz are not cool enough.
Well, all right.
And sodomy and incest, fine. Lesbians, not cool enough.
Sodomy, Nintendo approved. Lesbians,
Nope.
nope. So go ahead and send all your hate mail to Nintendo, because we're just reporting the facts. We didn't make this list up. You can buy the game and try it yourself. Depending on how you feel, you might have more fun doing that than playing the game.
Out of left field, also not cool enough, Sonic and Sega.
This game was Nintendo's response to Sonic the Hedgehog.
See, I didn't know that. And actually, playing this, I had a feeling like that this Uniracers really felt like sort of instant gratification of what Sonic was. Because you think of Sonic, you think of, playing through Emerald Fields, you're going around all the loops really fast. What you don't really think about most of the time, though, is when playing through Sonic, a lot of it goes pretty slow. And it's only once you get to those certain points where you really speed along. But there is none of that in Uniracers. It's just from start to finish. It's just constantly.
Non-stop loops. Nintendo wanted to show gamers that they could handle a similar game to Sonic the Hedgehog. So, yeah.
But then, for some reason, it is cool enough to have Pixar or Red be your name, which Uniracers fell into an interesting situation with Pixar.
Yeah, DMA Design was sued by Pixar because Pixar put out a short film titled Red's Dream, and it is horrifying. You've seen it, Josh.
Yes.
Tyler, you've seen it too.
Yep.
It's features a red unicycle that daydreams about tricking a really lumpy-looking clown.
Yeah, Pixar wasn't always the magnificent studio we know today.
If you have a fear of clowns, do not watch that.
Well, they needed that Nintendo money to grow. Or I'm sorry, DMA Design. They didn't sue Nintendo. They sued DMA Design.
Because if they sue Nintendo, they might lose. Let's go after the smaller company.
Which leads me to something that I'll bring up here in just a second. But if anyone's interested and hasn't seen Red's Dream, that's the Pixar short, I'll have that in the show notes at tadpog.com. You can go there and watch this really creepy scene. But Pixar won. They won the lawsuit on the grounds that DMA Design had ripped off this character, which is just a red unicycle. I have a question. On the box art and the cartridge art, it's a red unicycle. I'm curious if this whole lawsuit would have been avoided if it had been like a yellow one.
Well, red is one of the colors that you can choose from.
So get rid of red.
Yeah.
So I
If
thought
they had just not had red was just not a color
Right,
at all
not
you
a
could
color.
choose. That would, if it were nowadays, red would be like the $5 DLC color. You
exactly. Touching back on DMA Design, do you know where DMA Design is today? It's my trivia question of the week. What happened to DMA Design?
No idea.
They are Rockstar North.
Wow.
Yeah, if you can see your faces.
Mine skull explodes on the back of my head.
Yep, they are Rockstar North. And they are specifically, the DMA Design developer is known for Uniracers, Lemmings, and Grand Theft Auto, the original Grand Theft Auto.
I'm glad they... I see how the lawsuit with Pixar really changed them then. Going from Uniracers to Grand Theft Auto.
Well, there's the hot coffee scene in Uniracers. Yeah, if you beat Sprinter, if you beat Goldwyn in Sprinter, there's a little scene where prostitutes come out. I don't fucking know.
You made a good bluff check there. Josh and I are like, what?
Yeah, guys ever heard about this? It's the origin of hot coffee. I can't believe it.
Hot coffee.
Pixar won the lawsuit, and it stifled the production of the European version of Uniracers, Unirally. And because of that, only a few 100,000 copies were released there, and a lot of critics and game historians say that the game would have been a lot bigger and more influential if the lawsuit hadn't been successful.
But definitely check out the YouTube video, which you have those comments.
Yeah, some of the comments are pretty funny.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're not the only people who know the story behind the lawsuit. Let's see.
Well, everybody knows YouTube comments are just gold.
Yeah, they really are. I'd like to, and of course, we need to give proper credit. This is from Kirby X Silver. That's a pretty good name. And this is also a hot topic because he posted this a week ago from this recording. I can't laugh too hard because here we are fucking sitting around talking about the game. But guilt of Pixar stopped making Uniracers. All right, so that's informative.
It's true. By the gods, it's true.
4 weeks ago, according to Gordon Freeman.
Well, no, right now you know it's bullshit because he didn't say anything about this.
What he has to say about Red's Dream is, this doesn't look same as Unirally. That unicycle doesn't have the same moves. Screw you, Pixar.
A man of few words right there.
So, in case you were wondering what's going on YouTube, you haven't been there in a couple of weeks, it hasn't changed. All right, well, we've talked a whole lot about the mythos and the mystery surrounding what is Uniracers. But if you haven't played the game, we do have a twitch.tv account. You just go there, twitch.tv, and do a search for TADPOG Podcast. We've got some recordings of gameplay there. You can check it out. I'm not going to start. I don't want to share my feelings yet, but Tyler, I want to start with you.
Oh yeah, I will.
What did you think about Uniracers?
We'll take a step back for a second. Like, over all my gaming history and my strengths and my weaknesses, racing games are absolutely my kryptonite.
Yeah.
Like the classic JRPG Super Nintendo era, that's my wheelhouse. So racing games, no. Even racing games that I say that I like, okay, like F-Zero or like Mario Kart, I don't like them that much, and I'm awful at them. So going into Uniracers, I'm already skewed as to what I think. I'd probably say I'm even better at sports games than I am at racing games.
Wow.
And little thing about me that'll be interesting as we progress up the.
Are you saying racing isn't a sport? I've got a few NASCAR friends that would probably disagree with you.
Normally that might be an argument, but considering it's Uniracers, I think we might be in the clear. I think it's pretty safe to say Uniracers is not a sport game.
Next week we will have a debate over whether or not NASCAR is indeed a sport.
But except for Tiny Toons last week,
Yeah.
I'd never really even played a football game. So it'll be interesting as we get to that
just
point.
wait till we get to Madden.
But Uniracers, I might not have had like a lot of stellar things to say up for the last few games that we've done, but I don't really have anything positive to say about Uniracers.
Wow.
From sitting down, having the controller in my hand, I did not enjoy this game at all. It made my thumb hurt. I felt like the extremely simplistic, bland backgrounds, just random, just kind of the tracks, just flashy, super simplistic, start, stop, unicycles. I felt like the move selection you had to choose from was very, very small.
Yeah.
So that you were just doing the same 6 or
Stunts.
7 moves, stunts.
Yeah.
And then it's the music. Like I'm particular about music.
Yeah.
And the music Uniracers gets in your head. And it's very repetitive, but it's not good.
Something I want to point out about the music while we're on it is, I don't know if you noticed this or not, this bothered me. I don't think the music's particularly good, but did you notice that it doesn't matter what stage you're on, it seems like the music is just randomized?
It is, as well as the backgrounds. I noticed that too.
Which I think is really kind of I think that's a tick against Uniracers, is that the courses aren't designed to have a specific, like, this course's
It doesn't set a
music.
pace. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I did notice that too, playing through. Yeah, the music is different. It's randomized as well as the background. So you're not going to get the same background. You're not going to get the same music if you're playing the same track over and over, which I could see.
Which you will do.
Yes.
You're going for the gold medal.
Oh.
So what else do you have, Tyler?
So if this is the response to Sonic the Hedgehog, which the levels and the music and the characters of Sonic the Hedgehog, I mean, I can't. And you got unicycles. Oh, sometimes they're in front of squares. Sometimes they're in front of triangles. What music? Oh, you don't know. You know what's coming. I don't know why this is 98. I don't know why it's ahead of Tiny Toons or Final Fight. I think it should be lower or not on the list. I did not enjoy it. It's unique enough, I guess, in that it's unicycles following the crazy machinations of their god to get laid.
Yeah, but no one read that. Let's be honest.
It's just-
No one read that manual. We just read it to fish for funny shit to say on this show.
Yeah.
I agree with Tyler on just about everything. I almost despise racing games. It's sort of with the tricks you have to do to pick up speed, and on certain levels you just need a certain amount of points to pass.
Right.
It sort of had the kind of the base appeal that Tony Hawk does, doing the different tricks.
Because there's stunt tracks.
Right.
There's tracks where you race, and there's tracks where you just do stunts.
Right, but it just, I don't know, it's not my thing at all.
But I want you to think, and if you guys can think of anything, please let me know. Do you know of a game like this before Uniracers? And by that I mean, do you know of a game where you perform stunts Tony Hawk style that came out before Uniracers? Like, I don't know how in-depth Skate or Die got, but I kind of feel like that was just mainly like avoiding obstacles and shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Excite Bike, you could kind of ramp over things.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. You can ramp over things.
Hot, fresh TADPOG news you've come to expect. An Excite Bike, you could ramp off of shit.
Try not to overheat, guys.
Pro tip.
Negatives, level design. Pro tips, ramping.
That does bring another point up about it being a 2D racer.
Yeah.
Which Excite Bike is a little bit more 3D than this. It is the Excite Bike was a straight track from left to right.
Right.
But at least you could change lanes a little bit.
Like isometric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on this, you are left and right is the only go buttons you need.
Yeah.
Of course, you do tricks to boost your speed, but and the course does change direction from time to time. You know, you've got the little loops and jumps and the little. Well, those really fucking annoying things that if you hit them like mid-air, they push you all the way back and send you in the other direction.
Yeah, the direction traps.
God,
those are really annoying. Yeah. So, yay or nay? I mean, you used to play this game as a kid.
Which I cannot figure out why. Playing through again, I was just getting so frustrated with it, and it was really concerning me that I used to play this game a lot as a kid. Maybe it was because I was playing with my friends. We kind of shared the burden to get through it.
It kind of goes back to that community we were talking about in the second episode, where you just you're a group and you're brothers in the trench and you make your way through the game.
Maybe I just didn't have anything else to play as a kid. Maybe I felt like I only had it for a day before I had to return it to Movie Hut. I don't remember. But somehow with my friends, I got through it. I got to the boss. Whether or not the Anti Uni. Whether or not I finished it, I can't remember. But I really don't care. I really don't care to try again. It's not worth my time to me.
Well, I like the game. So I'll just throw that out there.
Prick.
Well,
You're also the one playing on the stream of it.
I don't want to claim that. Yeah, if you watch the stream, I swear that's not me playing, because there's some really poor playing there. I liked it. I didn't at first. I really started playing it, and there's a lot of glaring issues with the game, and you guys brought it up. I think the art direction is awful. I don't think it's a great looking game. The unis themselves, they're all the fucking same. They're just different colors. Who gives a shit? You know, they need to be different.
Pixar.
Well, you
Pixar
know,
gave a shit.
Pixar did give a shit.
You know, for a 2D racing game, the models for the unis I thought were pretty good. They look 3D. They sort of move around. You could see the different dimensions.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but they're pretty uninspired.
Right.
They're just fucking unicycles.
You can change the name and you can change the color, and
Right,
that's it.
and that's it.
They all look identical otherwise.
And back to what you said, Tyler, I agree. I think the backgrounds are just, they feel a little tacked on. They feel like...
It's a representation of the Unigod. It's like an abstract, kind of like an unfinished thought.
It's like Galactus. The backgrounds in Uniracer appear to the viewer as they think they should be viewed. It's so the backgrounds don't scare us.
It's our limited perception that limits the visage of the Unicron.
Exactly. Well done, DMA design.
We'll be speaking at DragonCon in Atlanta over the theological implications of Uniracers.
Yes. So go ahead and buy your tickets now. I think the backgrounds, Tyler, I think you're right. Honestly, what I think they did is I think DMA was like, let us show you what we can do. It may not make sense, but we want to show you that we can do cool backgrounds. Like that's how it felt. It felt just kind of tacked on. I agree with the music. There are like 3 tracks. Well, I shouldn't say tracks because it's a racing game. There are 3 pieces of music that just play randomized. And they are catchy. I found myself this morning when I was in the shower whistling one, but that happens to me a lot. Tiny Toons. I'm still fucking singing Tiny Toons theme song weeks after playing that, or a week. But overall, once I got past all that shit, I thought the game was really addictive. I think the gameplay is super addictive. I had a really, really hard time putting it down.
Until that pain in your thumb hits.
See, I don't get that. I don't know what happens. I don't get...
I guess I've been PC gaming too long. I haven't been on the consoles enough to really build up the calluses.
I don't really even have calluses. I just think maybe you two are pussies.
Entirely valid.
Fair enough.
But I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on. It does not have the polish or the charm of a Sonic the Hedgehog game. It doesn't. But I still think this game is fun. And I'm kind of tempted because I do like racing games. And the less realistic the racing, the more fun I have with it. And Uniracers kind of
I think that's your sense of humor in general. The more absurdity is a core Dave Moore.
Yeah, that's true.
Humor quality.
I do like bizarre shit. But I mean, Uniracers is not very realistic. And I like Mario Kart. Mario Kart is also not very realistic. I think the more realistic a racing game gets, the less interest I have in it because it becomes more of a simulation. Like the...
Train Simulator,
yes.
No, the Grand... I want to say fucking Gran Torino because I just watched that fucking movie. What is the name of that gaming? The
Gran
racing
Turismo?
Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, it starts with a T, I know. Yeah,
That's what I got
the
when I
old
said
arcade
Gran
game
Torino.
where you sit in the seat and actually have the steering wheel. Are you
What is it
talking about
again? What is the game? Cruising USA?
Cruising USA. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
But anyway, the more, like, that, I guess that's
the theme song to Cruising USA just popped in my head. Thank
How's that
you.
go?
I'm not gonna.
See, I almost started wanting to sing that "Take You for a Ride."
know.
That's Capcom. Capcom, dude. That's not even racing.
That's weird. I went there too. But I don't know.
Take you for a
I
ride.
think the more realistic a game, or more realistic a racing game, the more you worry about, I gotta have these tires on it. I gotta build the perfect car to race. I think that is not fun at all. I think there's validity to it, but I think beyond that, it becomes something different. It's no longer a racing game. It's more a simulation. Uniracers to me had this absurd quality. It's still a racing game, but it's so different than any other racing game that I liked it.
It is unique. That's certainly true. I can't think of anything that sort of fits the Uniracers mold. So that's true.
And it makes me wish that Sega had responded and been like, you know what? We're going to do a 2D Sonic racing game.
They already had Sonic Pinball.
Sonic Spinball. That's an excellent game. I love that game. I never understood why they didn't do a 2D. I mean, you get that as like a mini game, where you have the split screen and you race. But as far as I know, they never released anything like that where you race.
Yeah.
I guess because no one was as fast as Sonic.
And sure, you don't have Tails beating Sonic in a foot race, so they can do it now with Shadow the Hedgehog. Re-release 2D for Sonic Shadow Racer.
There's the mechanical Sonic. I don't know if he had a name.
I don't want to say
Mecha Sonic.
Yeah.
Why not?
Come on, guys. It's Mecha Sonic. It's got to be. I haven't kept track of that franchise probably since Sonic and Knuckles.
So I loved Sonic Adventures, the first one for the Dreamcast.
I remember
that is
playing that
probably
too,
my
yeah.
favorite Sonic the Hedgehog game.
Yeah. I never played it. Sounds like I'm going to have to check it out, though.
It is very, very good.
But yeah, they did get kind of odd there for a while. I never played them, but I know the Sonic RPG.
I played about 90% through that game, and about half of it was fun, and then it just got incredibly repetitive.
Yeah. Well, I know you mentioned, Tyler, the track changing color and all that, too. That bothered me at first until it trained me to realize what all those colors mean, and that's when the game started becoming fun for me, because the colors of the track represent what you're supposed to do. They're warnings. For instance, when it turns orange, it means there's an obstacle coming up and you need to jump. When it's yellow, it means there's a shortcut coming up and you need to jump. Pretty much if it changes color, jump. You're going to be okay. So I think that was a cool design decision. It kind of makes you able to play a track without having played it before. Because if I have a problem with racing games, my pet peeve is that you have to memorize the track in order to do well.
Well, in theory, it allows you to do that, but there's no human is able to.
Bronze. I mean, you can get by in bronze.
Maybe, yeah, but
yeah, I mean, silver
even assuming you beat it the first time on bronze, there's no way silver or gold you're gonna.
Well, it depends on your midichlorian level. If you have it high enough that you can realize have the reflexes to pull everything in your race.
Midichlorian shit on TADPOG. I'm out. I know I got through several tracks on bronze, sight unseen, and it was because you learned to read the track. But silver and gold especially, I mean, that is memorizing the track. You're right.
Because the track colors, and they're striped like candy canes.
Right.
So the first time through, I was just thinking of when I was little running through Cracker Barrel, whenever they have all the different kinds
Those
of
giant
colors of
suckers.
candy canes and suckers. Yeah.
You're riding on your unicycle.
But I ride my unicycle through
Cracker
Barrel when I was little after Sunday service.
Something else about this game that I think is really not good is that it doesn't age well. It hasn't aged well at all. It very much feels like when we started it up, I thought we were about to play Saved by the Bell, the game. Because the title screen is all like neon pink and green, and it's got these rendered unicycles on it. It's all...
See, I'm going to add Saved by the Bell, the game, to our increasing list for RPG Maker.
They did that a lot during the 90s early 90s for the Super Nintendo games. The one that most notably comes to mind, which I know you guys will eventually get to. I know it's really high up there on the top 100, but Earthbound.
Yeah.
Whenever you turned on Earthbound, you see this, I don't know if I would call it rock music, but 16-bit rock music.
That's one thing that actually turned me off to that game.
And you see this gas station being blown up by a UFO. And
it's nothing like that. That little blurb is nothing like the game or has anything to do with it. I guess they just wanted that.
That'll be our theme song for this episode.
It's just me going down.
It's like a badass NPR.
That's what we are called.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Turn into next week where we change our name to Badass NPR.
Well, in some circles we are badass NPR. I've heard that on the streets.
But anyway, it's not unheard of for the games to do that. So
I think that, but that's kind of my point. Is like I feel like there's some decisions that are made that really, really lock this game into 1994. The music, that opening title, like I said, Saved by the Bell, the game. But also, when you do stunts...
Timeout. No.
When you do stunts, little catchphrases come up. And a lot of these, you don't hear anymore. Like, Mondo. I can't tell you the last time I heard Mondo.
Super Mario World...
And it's
special
a drink.
world.
It's a Squeeze It ripoff. The Mondo drink.
No shit.
No
like this
shit.
exists.
Why
are we sitting around
drinking Mondo?
Drinking Mondo. If you work for if you or someone you know works for Mondo, we are interested in being your sponsor.
Is it Mondo Mo enemy in Earthbound or maybe I'm thinking of Super Mario? What is the Mo name in Super Mario World?
I want to say it's Super Mario World.
Yeah.
It's Monty
Mo. Okay, never mind. Scratch that. I'm way off.
Mondo's a level in Super Mario World,
like right next to Radical
catchphrase.
Right.
Radical and Tubular and
Tubular is another phrase that pops up when you do tricks, followed by like wow and snaz.
Isn't snaz a dirty word?
We got to bring snaz back. That's it.
Mandate number one. TADPOG mandate number one.
Get sponsored by Mondo. Bring snaz back.
Bringing it back. But yeah, I like the game. And I could see its influences on games after it. And I think that may be why this is on IGN's list. I don't think this is a better game than Tiny Toons or Final Fight. I'm not even sure that this game belongs on the list. But I had fun with it, for what it's worth.
I didn't. Really, and I even
you're the Uniracers expert.
Yes, I know. I even had like the good nostalgia from when I was playing with my friends and my brother, but it didn't save this for me.
And like I said, I didn't like it I didn't like it at first. When we turned it on, there was just this feeling of, ugh, we got to play this.
Yeah. That's how I feel about several things, but damn it, we're going to do it.
Yeah, it's true.
Every week, we're going to sit down, we're going to play it, no matter how much we don't want to do it.
Well, you
guys are so dedicated.
We've got a good game next week,
That's so hot.
Depending on who you ask.
Yeah, depending on who you ask. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 next week. So
I'm looking forward to that.
It's been a long time since I played a Mortal Kombat, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm pretty sure we're going to enjoy it more than Uniracers, so...
Yeah, and I've actually played that game before. So Uniracers was new to me. I think Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 is going to be a lot of fun just because it's a Mortal Kombat game. It's over the top. ridiculous. So we can do friendships.
It's true.
So looking forward to the friendships.
I played Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and that shitty Sub-Zero side-scroller adventure game for N64.
Yeah.
So,
Well, before we say too much about Ultimate Mortal Kombat, do we have anything else to say about Uniracers? Or are you ready to give it some beards? I'm afraid to ask.
no, I'm going to rate the shit out of this.
Tyler?
This is going to perfectly convey how I feel. All right. As far as for beards, I'm going to give this just one. So it's not like it's a lot of them, but just one Hitler mustache.
Holy shit.
I'm going to give it a one
Holy
Hitler
shit.
mustache. And as far for glasses, I'm going to give it one of those hard contact lenses back in the day that you used to have to wash. This is a hard contact lens that you forgot to wash the soap out of and put into your eye.
That's pretty hardcore.
So
Yeah.
you really didn't like this
I
game?
did not like this game.
That's a pretty clear indicator. All right, well, check out the footage. See if you like it, but maybe you shouldn't play it. According
Check
to
out
Tyler
this
and
Hitler
Josh.
mustaching game. All right, so I guess we'll probably give some shout outs to some people who have been kind to us. We might have Nicole, number one superfan, Blake Woods has probably been ousted and replaced by Dennis Robinson, who's been very, very kind with his words and messages to the TADPOG family.
He's been great. He's been giving feedback on the show, which I love to hear because I want to make it better. And he's also telling friends and listening and having a good time with it, like you should.
Yeah, fuck you, Blake.
Step up your game, son. Last week's host, Jacob York, he's been doing a lot of promoting himself, but therefore promoting us. So we're very thankful for that.
Definitely.
We should give a shout out to Jessica Dockery, who is the writer and co-owner of Sugg Street Post, SuggStreetPost.com, SUGG StreetPost.com. She's plugging us there. In a few weeks, I'll be doing, as a former chef and upcoming nutritionist and personal trainer, I'm going to be doing their food column soon. So you can find more there.
Can you tell me more about it?
About my column or her site?
The site, Sugg Street Post.
It is sort of a community hub for Madisonville, Kentucky. So they're talking about all local acts, news stories, artists, musicians, people affiliated with the area, affiliated with Kentucky in general. So they're doing a really good job of pulling everything together and making it interesting and new. Then, of course, I need to give a big shout out to Nikki Moore, who has gone out of her way to review and advertise and praise us. Yeah. And, of course...
She's my wife, so...
And my wife hasn't done shit. I think she's listened to one show. So, yeah. Blake and my wife both need to step it up. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can find the show on iTunes or newly Stitcher. So don't miss the next episode. We'll be talking about Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe, give the show a 5-star rating, and write a review.
Yeah, if you write a review, you'll get a shout-out, a much-coveted shout-out. And you can also be a contender for number one superfan. Josh?
Yes.
Thanks for coming on the show and being our Uniracer expert.
I'm more than happy to. Thank you guys so much for having me. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys invite me back.
Like Tyler said, we will be back next week. But if you can't wait for more, you can leave us feedback on tadpog.com. That's also where the show notes are. And you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/tadpog. Our intro song is Moves by Sycamore Drive. A link to the track can be found in the show notes on tadpog.com.
Balls, also not cool enough.